Meet me in the morning.
Great morning, everyone. This is Austin here with you for June 29th. It is Tuesday. This is Meet Me in the Morning. This is a segment we did off of Flashpoint. Your turnaround story starts here. We're bringing inspiration to you every single day since June 1st. I want to welcome you this morning. I want to welcome you into this space. I want you to check in with yourself, and I want you to get something of value today. A quick update. This is day 29. Technically, we have 1 day remaining for Meet Me in the Morning. However, I'm happy to say that we're going to be adding a bonus day on Thursday, and I have a special surprise for you. And we will have some special guests that I'm going to bring in, some inspirational people in my circle, some people that have been following the journey, and we're excited to bring this to you. Bear with me. I got a little bit of noise today, but nothing's going to stop me and nothing's going to stop you. Today, I want to say, let's get rich. Let's get rich today. Let's just go after the money. Come on, let's go. This is going to be an interesting one today because I am going to talk about getting rich. I'm going to be going to arguably the richest man in history and say, what can we learn? What can we learn? What can we glean? What can we grab? What can we add value to our journey? Let's do it. I want to talk about John D Rockefeller. I've been studying this, and John D Rockefeller is going to be in my book, but it's going to be unlike anything you've read before in a way that is going to give you a different perspective on this incredible, incredible life. Am I here? Let me know if I'm here. Let me say good morning to Mandy. Let me say good morning to Sarah. Let me know that my connection is here. Hang on 1 second, everyone. All right, we'll give it a second, and I trust that I am back. Let me know that I'm here. Let's get a sound check. Woo, 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 woo. Sound check, everyone. Let me know I'm here. Okay. I'm going to trust that you can hear me this morning on this beautiful day. June 29th, Meet Me in the Morning. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Sarah, for that. I'm glad you're here this morning. We're talking about the richest man in the world. I got some great information I'm going to share with you. And we got laughter. You see, we already got laughter. Everybody's laughing. So you might as well laugh too. John D Rockefeller, arguably the richest man in history. Arguably the richest man in history. It's been said that his net worth was $423 billion. He gave away an estimated $10 billion in his lifetime. You may say, well, that doesn't sound like, compared to what he was worth, compared to what he gave away. However, it's still a solid, a solid 20% of what he earned in his lifetime. How many people give away 20% in their lifetime? Maybe, I'm sure there's people that give away more. His wealth, he's one of the few individuals where his wealth surpassed 3 generations. All right, let's dive into the story. I've extracted some key things that I believe led to this type of success. All right, and I want to share with you, I'm going to jump ahead and share a quote with you because I think it's important to paint this, because John D. Rockefeller is still a controversial figure in history. There's a lot of different viewpoints of the man, but I'll say this is one of his quotes. If your only goal is to become rich, you'll never achieve it. If your only goal is to become rich, you'll never achieve it. Every rich, truly wealthy person knows this fact. The video keeps cutting out. I think that might be it. My video is solid. Let me know if you're good. I'm talking about John D. Rockefeller. Let's make sure the connection's good. I trust it is. I'm going to press on. We're talking about John D. Rockefeller, the oil magnate, one of the wealthiest men in history. Let's talk about, I'm going to lay out the things that I believe led to his wealth, and they're not going to be what you think. The first one is he had high morals. High morals. He was a Northern Baptist, and he practiced complete abstinence from alcohol and tobacco, amongst other things, all right? Here's the 10. And by the way, I'm going to give you a new definition of a word today. I made this definition myself because when I looked at the dictionary, I didn't think that the word had the right definition. And the word is stewardship. He practiced exceptional stewardship. When John D Rockefeller was merely 16 years old, he was a bookkeeper in a company at 16. He practiced meticulous. He learned to practice meticulous bookkeeping at 16 years old. Imagine that's high school. That's like a junior in high school. He's working with a company and he's a bookkeeper. So now he's learning stewardship. He's learning how to manage the books impeccably. The next thing I believe he had was innovation. Innovation. He wasn't just, see, this is where you got to look at the ingredients that lead to these great results. He had exceptional stewardship and he was an innovator. And that means, let me grab the definition here of innovation. So innovation means to create a new method, a new idea, or a new product. You see, even though he was an exceptional bookkeeper, he learned the process of innovation to take risks. And he said, one of his quotes is, I always tried to turn every disaster into an opportunity. And here's another one. I believe that every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity an obligation, every possession a duty. So I know I'm jumping back and forth, so stay with me. So we're talking about the two things that I believe right now are stewardship and innovation, stewardship and innovation. And that quote again, to back up the stewardship, I believe that every right implies a responsibility, every opportunity an obligation, every possession a duty. You see that tenet of stewardship, being a good steward. And I'm going to share with you my definition of stewardship, and I'm going to give it to you at the end. So stay with me, and I'm going to grab your shares. So let me know what you think about this man, the richest man, arguably the richest man in history. My definition of stewardship: the meticulous and responsible management of resources entrusted to one's care that fosters long-term growth. So this is my definition: the meticulous and responsible management of resources entrusted to one's care that fosters long-term growth. And I'm going to give you a graphic of that at the end so you can grab that, because you won't find that definition anywhere but here. And it's something that I've been working on myself. So when I studied this, I was like, man, these are the real reasons why this man became wealthy. And I know there's other things, but I'm going to get to those things. So number one, I laid out that he had high morals. He had abstinence from alcohol, tobacco. He lived a very frugal, in the beginning, it was a frugal, intentional life. And he was a bookkeeper at 16, which led to his ability to become a great steward. The third thing I talked about was innovation. Innovation. One of his quotes was, "Don't be afraid to give up good to go for great." And if you think about it, there's a book today that's out there where somebody wrote a book on that. I forget the name of the author, but it's like good to great. Well, John D Rockefeller coined that phrase: don't be afraid to give up good to go for great. He was always innovating. And if you don't know this, and I'm gonna get to what he did to innovate, because when I get to the fifth point, or the next point, he had an incredible drive, which led to an incredible competitive spirit. And I think this is where his reputation can be tarnished a little bit, because he was highly competitive. When the railroads tried to do things to box him in or limit him, that's when he laid the pipeline all across the United States. He literally thought, well, if we can lay thousands of railroad track, why can't I just put a pipeline in, and I don't even need the railroads to transport my oil? And that's what he did. So think about the risk and the investment. And there you find this balance between stewardship, but yet the ability to take risk. You see what I mean? And you got to look at these two energies, and we can look at them in our own lives, that leads to growth. And that's why this man became wealthy. And the other thing that he displayed in an incredible way was perseverance. Perseverance. As a matter of fact, he said that perseverance is the one thing that supersedes everything in terms of your pursuit to be successful, in his opinion. And then he said, I tried to turn every disaster into an opportunity. You see, you got to look, the John D Rockefeller name will consistently be brought up. It's universal. People know this man as one of the wealthiest men. And there's some stuff floating around that's not good about him. But there's so much we can learn from these stories. And I'm going to give you, see, this is what I do. I'm going to give you the complete paradox of all this. I'm going to talk about, imagine if you wrote a note. Imagine today you got up and you took out a little index card or a little Post-it note and you wrote a quote on there. And imagine that thing that you wrote down would later sell for $1.6 million. I'm going to share that with you by the time we get to the end of this. And I'm going to pause for a minute because I want to give you an update to what we're doing. We're having a mastermind on July 10th. It's a private mastermind. It's invite only. It's no cost. It's my way to give back to my community. And I really want to position people for 2021 because we're 6 months in. There's a lot of things happening right now. A lot of things are opening up. So I want to invite you in. If that's something that you want to be a part of, you have to reach out to me directly. And I want you to grow. I absolutely want you to grow. And I know that the way that that's going to happen is in commune with other people. So that's an opportunity that we're working on. And I'm also going to ask you to follow the YouTube channel. I'll ask you to do that at the end. I'm going to share the link with you. Because if you like this, I want you to, maybe make this a part of your YouTube routine. So, all right, back to the story. We're talking about John D Rockefeller. The other thing I liked about John D Rockefeller when I researched it, he relied on his wife for advice. He married well. So think about it. Think about relationships today where you don't go to your spouse for advice, or you just do your own thing. Well, this is one of the wealthiest man in history, relied on his wife for her advice. And I believe he used her as a moral compass personally, especially when you imagine these titans of industry battling against each other and the competition's high. You've got to really work to keep your integrity, and I think John D Rockefeller, most of his life, exemplified high integrity. Okay. Let me just recap, and then I'm going to share with you this note that went for 1.6 million. I'm going to share with you my definition of stewardship so you can grab the screenshot and take it with you. All right. I believe what led to John D Rockefeller's incredible wealth was high morals. High morals, integrity. Northern Baptist, abstained from alcohol and tobacco, did his best to live a healthy, clean life. Number two, practiced exceptional stewardship. He was a bookkeeper at age 16. He never lost that habit of keeping meticulous books, whether it was him or whether he trained anybody that came into his company. They learned how to keep great record. Number three, he innovated. He took risks. He said, don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. And I want to add to the innovation that in his business practices, he chose the right industry, oil. Very competitive, but it was the right industry. It was in high demand. And actually, because of his ability to grow in that space, we have our first antitrust rules, as you know. Number four, high drive, incredibly competitive. He probably got that from his father, who his father was kind of like a salesman, like a traveling salesman kind of a type. He practiced exceptional perseverance. He had an intense perseverance, which he believed was the most important ingredient that you could have. I would argue, well, yeah, I guess perseverance, that it's hard to argue with that, right? The perseverance is the one thing that gave him that. Now, let me give you I got a special share for you here. So are you taking this in? Let me grab your shares. Is this making sense? This is unique content. I created this for you today. I'm in the gazebo in Haddonfield here. I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute here. I'm going to give you some final shares. Okay. So we're talking about getting rich, but I want to share something with you. Imagine if you wrote a note down today on a Post-it note, and it later sold for $1.6 million. Well, I think it was 1922. Albert Einstein was in Japan, and he was staying at a hotel. He was due to give a talk there, and he wanted to tip the bellboy at the hotel. It is said that he either didn't have change in his pocket, or the bellboy refused the tip. Albert Einstein proceeded to write down the key to happiness on the note. And the note said, "A calm, modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness." That note was kept, and I think it was in 2017, sold for $1.6 million. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you, you're like, wait, you're just talking about the richest man in the world. Now you're talking about this. Because I believe we need to look at these things in different perspectives. And it helps you dial into what's most important to you. What resonates with you? That's what matters. And there is this paradox of this restlessness that drives us forward, right? It's like the grain of sand that gets into the oyster that creates the pearl. But at the same time, if that's the way we're always operating, where we're constantly restless, constantly pursuing, right? And that's what I think Albert Einstein meant. And we look to play with the different energies, the different paradoxes of our life, and to consistently be dialing in to what we need. What's important to you? It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what information I share. What matters is what's important to you today. What's important to you right now? What do you most need to pour into this day? Do you need some hustle, some hurry up and get up? Do you need to chill out? Do you need to be like, you know what? I've been running hot. I got my anxieties up. I need to chill. What do you need in your pursuit? I trust that this served you today. I'm going to close by just grabbing your shares. And we got a bonus. So tomorrow's the last day for Meet Me in the Morning, and then we're going to have a bonus day. But if you're liking this, the only thing I'm going to ask you is to just click on my YouTube link and follow it. I'm going to share it here. Let me grab these shares. Mandy, good morning. You always show up, Mandy. I want to honor you again. Sarah, you've been showing up. I'm so glad you're here. Let's go back and grab some of your shares. I really appreciate this. A new idea, new info, new products equals innovation. Yes, that's what the definition of innovation is. And we're talking about John D Rockefeller's ability to innovate. And I said, exceptional stewardship. He was a bookkeeper at 16. We talked about that. Reminds me of the scriptural tenet of being a steward. Yes, there's a scriptural tenet. It's in the Bible about being a good steward. It's a great word. I love the word because it's on my wall, and I'm going to show you what's hanging on my wall, at least a version of it. It's something that I am working on. Exactly. Trusted for growth, not stagnation. We are designed for growth, not stagnation, and we need to be paying attention to that. Are you in it? And as we're reviewing these shares, think about the balance between the stewardship and innovation. This ability to manage our resources, but yet the ability to take risks when necessary. You see, that's what we need. Like, think about that for you today. Have you been a great steward, but you haven't taken risks? Have you been taking risks and you haven't been a great steward? We need to look at these things. Believe me, it's a constant thing. Drive and passion. Yes. Where can we dig up that drive and that purpose? Where does it come from? It's in you already. You just need to discover it. Are you feeling this? Ability to take a risk and perseverance until you can achieve the desired result. Absolutely. I've heard he personally intervened in a single mother's court case to get it thrown out. Yeah. I apologize about the noise here this morning. Sometimes we got noise, right? We got innovation happening all around. Let me take a walk over here. But there's a lot of stories about, and unfortunately, people like John D Rockefeller can also get vilified throughout history because they have a lot of wealth and people don't like it and they want to tear you down, right? But there's a lot of good things, and it's gonna be in my book, by the way. I got an incredible perspective on this man, and I'm digging for the flashpoints for you. There's a flashpoint in every story, and there's a flashpoint in your story as well. And if you don't know what that flashpoint is, maybe it's yet to be created. We're gonna help you create it. He's used her as he used his wife as a moral compass, I believe. That's my words, by the way. But he would often go to his wife for advice. I'm going to walk this way and get out of this noise. So yeah, he would use his wife as a moral compass. And let's see what else we got. Post-it notes originated with the town criers. Oh, really? That's awesome. I love that. A calm, modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with restlessness. That's an Albert Einstein quote. He wrote it on a note back in 1922. It later sold for $1.6 million. Holy moly, right? Holy moly, wow. Yeah, although I have another take on the pearl. Okay, Mandy, Mandy. Okay, so here I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Mandy's going to be coming on with me on Thursday. So maybe she can talk about this other perspective. I want to grab your perspective. So on Thursday, I'm going to be bringing on special guests for Meet Me in the Morning. And we're going to grab some of the things. I've been doing this for 30 days. We're going to do a bonus day. I'm going to have some guests. Some of my friends that have been following along are going to join. That would be great. He was incredibly humble. Yes, he was. He was a great community activist. See, there's great things about all of us. We just need to grab that, right? So anyway, this is Meet Me in the Morning. This is Austin. It's 8:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to send you off. I want you to have a great day today. I want you to grab something from this. And the shares. All right, so let me grab this. Once I share this, I am going to say goodbye. You might be able to hear my voice, but here we go. Here's my definition on stewardship. I invite you to take it, use it, just give me credit for it. Put it in your bibliography. All right, here we go.